30, 35 down the sidelines to the 40, makes a move to the 45, the 50, he's to the 40, he could go, he's to the 25, the 20, they dive him, they miss him, he's in the end zone, touchdown!
Throws off his back foot, wide open man in the end zone, leaping grab, touchdown!
Launches the throw down toward the goal line, going up, ball tipped in the air, caught, touchdown!
Reverses his field, got a block from Pittman, going deep, got a man in the end zone, touchdown!
It's a man's game tonight now, you know that. Everybody watching tonight.
And now it's the Undefined Blitz with Chad and JC.
And welcome everybody once again to the Undefined Blitz right here on undefinedradio.com. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in on the very last day of July. Still hot in hell outside.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't seem to be cooling off anytime soon. But football is also heating up. The injuries are piling up. The controversy is getting juicier. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, unfortunately, much of this has to do with the Denver Broncos.
It actually does, which is weird.
So you started with the injury front, so we can start there. So today at practice, Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick went down in a non-contact capacity. Went down, started yelling, took off his helmet, threw it, took off his gloves, threw them to. He is feared, or at least believed, to have torn his Achilles and his left leg. And this is after he missed all of last season after tearing the ACL in his right knee.
That's terrible, man.
But you remember in 2021, Tim Patrick had a big season for the Broncos. Right. So the plans have been for this guy to be, if not number one, then the number two guy with Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
But now back-to-back season-ending injuries for him kind of shed up this really kind of scary light on the Broncos wide receivers group. Meanwhile, KJ Hamler, another Broncos wide receiver who has also not played a lot of football over the last few years due to injuries, he has announced today that he is stepping away from the team for treatment of a heart issue.
Oh, yeah.
So Hamler played in 7 games last season and was ultimately placed on IR on December 3rd with a hamstring injury. He missed all but 3 games in 2021 with the torn ACL, as well as a hip injury. So he put today that he was feeling some chest pains while working out on the break between OTAs and when training camp started. Got everything checked out. He was diagnosed with a mild heart irritation, which is called pericarditis, I guess is how you pronounce that. Said he's got a treatment plan with medicine, and he's taking a quick break to get this all taken care of so he can get back to playing football. I don't know how long this will keep him out, but it seems like he will be back to play this year. So the Broncos' projected top 4 receivers are Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick. And the 4 of them have played just 2 games together over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Due to a combination of injuries to all parties involved here. Sutton had a torn ACL back in 2020. Hamler had the ACL as well as the hip in 2021. Patrick had the torn ACL last year. Now he has the Achilles injury this year. But the Broncos have added former Saints wide receivers Marquez Callaway and Lil Jordan Humphrey in free agency this year. They also used a second-round pick in last April's draft on wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. And, of course, Mims opened up training camp with some hamstring pain and practiced for the first time today. So a whole lot going on in that wide receiver room. We'll see how it ultimately plays out for the Broncos, who are also getting attention for a whole different reason. And that was the statements made by head coach Sean Payton. So Sean Payton, I forget what he was asked, but his answer to the question was that he's basically having to come up behind Nathaniel Hackett and clean up the worst coaching job in NFL history. Not one of the worst, not a pretty bad one, not an unfortunate one. The single worst coaching job in NFL history. And he said something else too, and I can't remember what Sean Payton, because he kind of expounded upon this. But ultimately, somebody wasn't very happy about the statement, and that person is none other than Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
So for those of you who don't know, Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett have a long history together. Nathaniel Hackett was Aaron Rodgers' OC in Green Bay for several years, leading up to Hackett getting the job as the Broncos head coach last year. Now Nathaniel Hackett is the Jets offensive coordinator, which reunites him and Aaron Rodgers. And so Aaron went on to say, I love Nathaniel Hackett, and those comments were very surprising for a coach to do that to another coach. Rodgers added, I thought it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth. And Rodgers would talk about their time together in Green Bay, that Hackett's one of his favorite coaches that he's ever played for, the way that Hackett approaches the game and makes it fun for everyone. And, and maybe Hackett was just out of his element as a head coach. And here's the weird part. Sean Payton probably should not have said what he said.
No.
However, I don't think Sean Payton was wrong.
No, he was not. Because look at the talent around Denver and what they brought in.
Absolutely.
This, by all metrics, going into last season, was going to be a much improved Denver Broncos football team.
We thought the Broncos would contend for that AFC West title. Not saying that they would have won it over the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs.
That's right.
But the Broncos were thought to be contenders. That whole AFC West was thought going into the season to be one of the absolute best divisions in all of the NFL. Yeah. And did you see what Sean Payton said in his kind of backtracking of his statement?
No.
He said that he regrets the comments that he made about Nathaniel Hackett, and claimed that he still had his Fox analyst hat on and not his coaching hat. I was like, that's the lamest excuse I have heard in quite a while.
Yes.
Especially for Sean Payton, who has been around the league for over 20 years.
Well, he had to know that was the wrong thing to say.
Had to.
Even though he probably 100% believes it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who 110% believe that statement is a very true statement.
Everyone on the planet.
But you just can't say it sometimes. You don't need, and the reason being, not because you shouldn't just tell the truth, but sometimes you don't want you don't want to be under that kind of magnifying glass, because now what it does, it enhances all eyes on you. Well, if he did such a bad job, what can you do for Denver? And now you're down 2 more wide receivers. You've got issues coming around your team right now. This is not what you need to do.
So Aaron Rodgers,
you need to put your head down and go to work.
Aaron Rodgers brought up the point that he feels like Sean Payton said it because if they do fail out in Denver this year, it softens the blow on Sean Payton because of how bad these guys were coached over the last year.
That's right. Exactly. It's a scapegoat moment for Sean Payton. But he never should have said it. He should have taken the high road. Hey, it didn't work out. And sometimes that happens in the NFL, which is true. And sometimes the pieces just don't come together. It's my job to make sure those pieces fit and then make sure they work and put the best team around here I can. That's all you had to say.
Right. Because
there was no point in doing the other.
I think everyone had high expectations for Nathaniel Hackett and company, especially after the Broncos made that huge trade to get Russell Wilson.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The number of high draft picks that they had put in the wide receiver position, the getting of, what's the kid's name? Javonte Williams, the running back. I mean, they have a lot of good pieces in Denver, and there's no reason that team should have been as horribly inept as it was, especially offensively last year when you have an offensive-minded head coach.
And he just didn't put it on Hackett. He named Hackett, but he's talking about 20 other sets of dirty hands. He's talking about the rest of that offense.
Yeah.
You have 11 players on that offensive field at any one time out there. It's not just your quarterback. You can't block, you can't run, you're not catching the football. There's a lot of issues more than just one thing. So, yeah, does that always fall on the head coach? Of course it does. We've always talked about it. I mean, you're going to get the blame, just like you get all the glory. What a great head coaching job he did.
Right.
Oh, your team sucks right now. Well, you must suck. Even though you don't play a snap, you still must suck.
But you got to get everybody prepared.
You got to get everybody prepared. Now, you can't play for them.
The plan, the formula.
And the problem is it's a organizational wide issue. In that locker room last season, nobody believed in the Denver Broncos. They got punched in the mouth early, never recovered, rotating job at quarterback. They just couldn't recover from it.
And now in their defense, they did lose a lot of games close, because their defense is that good.
Yep.
Um,
The only saving grace for that team.
but however, their offense was basically worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
And
it showed.
And if their offense was even, let's say it went up to 20th in the NFL.
Oh, they got 4 or 5 more wins, maybe.
Absolutely. Possibly make the playoffs.
Yeah. So, now for me, I loved it. It's great. Because, look.
Sean Payton out there just cutting promos on other
somebody's
coaches.
got to say what it is. I was there. I was all happy for it. I was like, yeah, that's right. Tell it. Say it. Don't back off of that. Don't backtrack. It was an awful job last year.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was bad. That doesn't make Nathaniel Hackett a bad coach. He's obviously been successful, but he did a crappy job last year
as a head coach. Yeah,
yeah, and so did his other coaches. That whole organization sucked.
But we see this all the time, and we've talked about it ad nauseum on this program before about how there's just certain coordinators that are not cut out to be head coaches.
Exactly, because that's a whole different set of things you got to do
year in and year out.
It does.
When you're no longer just focusing on one specific aspect of the football team, and now you've got to focus on all of it, especially if you're a head coach that's also a GM, and you've also got to deal with the salary cap aspects of the signings, trades, cuts, releases, whatever it might be. When you have to start managing all that, you also have to manage the clock.
Yep.
You got to manage the timeouts,
Yes, you do.
the replays, the reviews. You have to manage the roster depth front and back, and not just the total 53-man roster, but within the game itself on Sunday afternoons. You know, it's such a big departure from what these guys are used to, most of them, that we see them more times than not fail spectacularly.
Yeah, it happens time after time after time.
I mean, we've seen other guys succeed. Like Rex Ryan never won a Super Bowl, but he took his team to 3 straight AFC title games.
Yep. So close.
You know,
if it hadn't been for the Patriots, who knows?
Right.
Right.
But you see that. You see what Dan Campbell's doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Sean McVay, I don't know if Sean McVay was ever an offensive coordinator. I think he just went from being a tight ends coach directly to being a head coach.
Yeah.
But he's been wildly successful. He's coached in 2 Super Bowls, won 1.
Yep.
You know, so there are guys that can do it. There's just other guys that can't. And Nathaniel Hackett may just, at the end of the day, be one of those guys that can't get it done.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens down there with the Jets, or over there with the Jets, I guess. But the fact of the matter was, Sean Payton was not wrong about last year. Could he have said it in a less blunt manner? I'm sure he could if he wanted to spare feelings. I personally don't care. I like it because it is true. And it should light a fire under those guys because there was a lot of guys that let that team down last year.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a multi-million-dollar business, billion-dollar business that you get paid very well to do. And to epically melt down that bad, there's no other thing you can call it. And people will say, because I've seen it, they're talking about, well, there have been some other awful coaches, not with this level of talent on a team.
Right.
That's the difference. You can have bad coaching. There's been a ton of it with just subpar talent across the board, say 1 or 2 stars maybe. Denver has a lot of talent on this football team. There was no reason for it to be the way it was last year.
It's like you think of when Todd Haley became the head coach of the Chiefs after he had been the OC for the Steelers for a long time.
Yep.
He got that Chiefs head coaching job. Chiefs were not a good team.
No, they were not.
They had a couple of decent players or really good players like Dwayne Bowe, Dante Hall, but the rest of the team was average at best.
That's right.
And they failed spectacularly, even though everyone thought that Todd Haley was this great offensive mind, and he might be. But he had a bad team.
He had a real bad team.
And he never really got that head coaching gig again after that.
No. And he is an amazing coordinator.
I mean, speaking of other coordinators, I think of the Cowboys from the 90s. I mean, you think of the coordinators that they had that would go on to be
about that too.
Head coaches and not do well.
Dave Wannstedt.
Brilliant
defensive mind.
Nah, as a head coach. Like, he had Dan Marino, so that helped.
That's right.
But
that only helped temporarily.
Yeah. Chan Gailey.
Chan Gailey's another one.
Didn't work out too well.
Great coordinator. One of the great coordinators. Not a good head coach.
Dave Cambo,
They,
terrible head coach.
yeah, what a great coordinator. He's a very great defensive mind.
Now, I mean, if you fast
Lord
forward,
Turner, look at that. Great offensive mind. Not so much as a head coach.
He had some okay success as a head coach, but
Chargers were his best,
for
most
sure,
successful by far.
100%. And then you even fast forward into the 2000s. I mean, yeah, Wade Phillips had a lot of success as a head coach.
Oh yeah,
achieved the peak of his success though, still as a defensive coordinator.
That's right.
Even after
Brilliant defensive mind.
His head coaching run with the Cowboys was over.
That's right.
I mean, Jason Garrett got ran out of New York pretty quick after failing as the Cowboys head coach.
That's right.
For a decade.
And before he became the Cowboys head coach, was a brilliant offensive mind. People love that dude. Became the Cowboys head coach,
and
became the clapper.
He did become the clapper. Now, you don't get a 10-year run in the NFL on accident.
No, you don't. No.
And you definitely don't get it if you're a bad head coach.
No, because they have gotten rid of a lot of people for less.
However, they had a lot of talent that bailed him out of a lot of bad situations that he created.
Sure.
And sometimes they didn't have enough talent to get them out of just the sheer number of bad situations that he created.
I heard this the other day. Yeah, was it Cole Beasley? I think it was Cole Beasley. Talking about how despite the awful coaching in Dallas, he said they would get calls into the huddle and Tony would just look at him and go, "We're not doing any of that. Just go out there and line up and I'll tell you which way to go." Right. He said, y'all don't even understand how brilliant that dude was and how many times he had to do that to keep us out of even worse situations that we were already put in because of play calling. He said it was unbelievable.
So by Jason Garrett's play calling?
Just what I'm saying. I just thought it was funny when he came out and was talking about it, right? Just like, this is what people just don't see and don't really understand about those times and all that stuff. He says it's crazy what the coaching will do and what the fans never see.
Right.
Even the fans who are complaining about this is what the problem, this is the problem. But he said what you don't see is what's amazing about it.
And we've had people on the show before talk about how they have to run the plays that the coaches call.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Then why do we have so many stories about guys changing plays? Why do we actively watch quarterbacks audible?
Yeah,
all the time.
That's right. You see something that's not going to work. You gotta do something.
Now, that's not to say there won't be an argument about it later.
Yep. Oh yeah, and there will be.
But the quarterback who's actively playing the game on the field, if they know how to do their job,
that's right.
They should be able to make the adjustments they need to make in the moment as they need to make them.
Oh yeah, and there's probably a ton of players out there who've done that we just don't know about that. They have never just come out and told those stories on, and that would be some fascinating interviews and some reads about guys like that who've done these things, like in spite of awful coaching. There's an old I can't remember the coach's name. This is back in the 60s. I believe it was the 60s. But every game, they always start first down, run the football. Every play, every first down was always a run, never a pass. So one time they're like, you know what? We're going to switch it up. We're going to pass on first down. But the offensive line coach went over there to the line and said, if you do this, I'll never hear the end of it. Hold. Sure enough, play. Caught the defense by surprise because everybody knew he runs on first down, touchdown. Holding call, come back, he kept running it every first down after that for now and now. True story. True story. I've been hearing that. It's so funny, right? That this stuff happens, but it happens.
Well, so getting back to some current NFL news, San Francisco 49ers are nearly a week into their training camp, and they're still without star defensive end Nick Bosa.
Yep.
But GM John Lynch has said that he is not at all concerned about reaching an agreement with the NFL's reigning Defensive Player of the Year. He says he, of course, doesn't like not having Nick Bosa here. But I think with where the 49ers are right now, there's no reason to think that Nick Bosa is not going to get a deal worked out to get him into camp.
Oh, yeah. Now, the same may not be true for Zach Martin. By what JJ is saying.
How many times do we have to do this dance, Jerry Jones? Like, he's, without question, he's probably the best player on your team.
Yes. Certainly your most consistent.
Now he
player on that
doesn't
football team.
he doesn't play the flashy positions.
No.
So
He
he's not
keeps
going to
your
get the
quarterback
headlines.
from getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Every play.
I mean, the guy's made more Pro Bowls than he has holding calls in his career.
Yes. Surefire Hall of Famer, right?
You know?
This dude is amazing.
And he's making $7 million less than the top 2 earning guards in the NFL.
And look, if you don't understand math and don't know how to make this work, go hire some of these guys from these other teams that are making stuff work and take some get a tutor. Right? Go and learn how to do this and make this work for you because you can work this out.
Right.
Micah Parsons came out today and said, I'm not worried about financial success. I want to build a legacy.
Well,
because Jerry Jones specifically said, well, I've got to pay Micah Parsons,
right.
so I'm really not worried about this whole Zach Martin thing. I mean, there's nothing we have to do.
Mike Parsons wants to make that money.
Oh, he does, no doubt. But his point was being, I don't need to be the richest guy in the league.
Well,
I want to build a legacy.
Well, that's how you do it, is by everyone taking less money. That's how that works.
Yeah. So it's just going to be an interesting thing over there in Big D. It always is, though.
But
we're used to it.
I don't think there's any way that I don't think Zach Martin will be sitting out this season.
Oh, no.
At some point, he's getting back on the field. But speaking of people who may or may not get on the field, a really interesting situation developing over in Indianapolis as Jonathan Taylor has asked for a trade from the Colts.
Yep.
I mean, you got a new head coach, one that everyone seems to be pretty excited about. You've got a new quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who seems like he's balling out in all the training camp footage that I've seen.
Yep.
Granted, not a lot of training camp footage that I've seen, but the ones that I have seen, Anthony Richardson seems like he's doing the thing. And then you got Jonathan Taylor, who's entering the final year of his rookie deal, who wants to get out of there. And Jim Irsay was asked about it today, and he gave the weirdest damn answer.
Oh, Lord. I didn't see his answer. I hadn't seen that part.
It was so strange. He talked about how Jonathan Taylor and him sat down on a bus, towards the end of training camp practices last weekend, and they went through a number of issues. Jonathan Taylor ultimately told him that he wanted to be traded and left the bus. And then Jim Irsay goes on to this weird Ultimate Warrior-esque promo that, makes no coherent sense, talking about, well, I could die today and Jonathan Taylor wouldn't be in the NFL, and then, the NFL goes on. People they care about the NFL, and they don't care about us. Like, Jim Irsay, what are you talking about?
Saying? What words are you trying to use right now?
I don't know. I guess he's planning on getting another DUI tonight. I don't really know what Jim Irsay's plan is for that. But man, it kind of felt like the Colts were going to be on a little bit of an upswing. Maybe not a dramatic turnaround, but at least like they were trending in the right direction.
And this is a team.
And then you've got all these suspensions for the sports gambling.
Oh, Lord,
one guy got cut for it. And now your best player.
Yep.
Well, second best player. Quentin Nelson's probably their best player.
That's right.
But Jonathan Taylor, your second best player. You call him 1A, 1B if you want. Jonathan Taylor is that good. But he wants out now. However, he wants out in a contract year in a league where people just aren't that willing to pay people at his position.
That's right.
For whatever reason.
Exactly. Yeah, good luck. You ain't going nowhere. Guarantee you.
I mean, it's absolutely strange.
Unless Indy can find a huge suitor, that would be, and there's nobody's going to do that.
But, what would someone give up to get Jonathan Taylor when you only get him for 1 year on that rookie deal?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because then you're going to have to pay him a big contract, or you're going to have to let him walk.
That's right.
And what are you willing to part with in order to do that?
That's going to be the biggest part of it.
Because here's my thing. If these teams don't want to pay running backs, they better not ever ask for a first-round draft pick as compensation for one.
No, they shouldn't. Why? If you're not going to pay them. I don't see the point.
I mean, if I'm the Colts and I have Jonathan Taylor and I'm not going to pay that guy, then why would I ever expect anyone to give me a first-round compensation for him?
Exactly.
because they know that I'm not paying them.
No, definitely not. It's ridiculous, man. That's just there's so much stupid stuff out there right now, and it's just the whole league system right now is kind of crazy.
All right, so we kind of pivoting a little bit here. Just want to remind you guys that this program is brought to you by Tallahatchie Valley Electric Power Association. Did I say all that right?
Yep.
All right, so it's brought to you by the TV EPA, as well as by our good friends over at Tobytown Media. Tobytown Media, they work with the top flight real estate agents around, and they provide every manner of media that you could need for a listing. So if you're a realtor out there and you're trying to elevate your listings to make these homes more appealing to help get them sold, people want to know what they're buying. They don't want to spend that much money not knowing.
That's right.
Get with good people over at Tobytown Media, Billy and Courtney Leishman, and they will hook you up with aerial drone shots, a full walk-through virtual tour of the home, stunning compositions. They will put together a whole media package for you. And if you want to try them out for free, this goes to all you realtors out there. If you want to try out Tobytown Media for free, hit them up at www.tobytownmedia.com. And at checkout, use the promo code BLITZ. That's BLITZ, and you can actually try out one of their professional packages for free.
Are you tired of slow internet? Frustrated with buffering and data caps? It's time for a change. Schedule an install with TVI Fiber, the fastest, most reliable internet connection around. With TVI Fiber, say goodbye to frustration and hello to endless possibilities. Stream your favorite shows, play online games, take online classes, and more. It's time to unleash your digital potential. And the best part? TVI Fiber provides unlimited data, no residential contracts or fees, for a low price to fit your budget. Don't settle for limitations. Upgrade to TVI Fiber's internet and telephone services. Go to TVIFiber.com to schedule your install today. That's TVIFiber.com.
All right. We appreciate all of our sponsors right here at Undefined Radio and Undefined Blitz. Got to move on to college football now because we are 4 weeks away from week 0.
Less than 4 weeks.
This is awesome.
About 26 days away.
Yes, we are.
Or 27 days, something like that.
It's coming soon.
August 26th. That's week 0.
That's right.
We'll get a matchup between Navy and Notre Dame over in Dublin, Ireland, which would be kind of cool. Other than that, no real exciting games in week 0, other than, college football's back. And there's just some innate excitement in and of itself there.
Best time of the year.
It really is.
Coming.
We had the Hall of Fame game is this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday night.
It's in 3 days.
That's right.
It'll be terrible as
but
far
it's still
as
football.
Football quality
Pads,
goes.
pigskins being thrown around. Let's go.
But we're going to talk about some college football now. The big news coming out of the weekend is that Colorado University, with Coach Deion Sanders, they will be leaving the Pac-12 after this season and joining the Big 12.
That's right.
And so the Big 12 will then expand to 13 teams.
The Big 13.
Well, I guess technically they're going to deflate to 13 teams.
That's right.
Because they're a 14 team this year.
That's right. 14. They're losing 2, gaining 1 after this season.
But do you think that the Big 12 would have wanted Colorado if it weren't for Coach Prime?
No. No, they don't. They know that they need a headline grabber.
Yes, because Texas and Oklahoma were your headline grabbers, and they're leaving.
And they're gone after this season. So they need something else in there that will bring eyes to the conference, and Coach Prime will do that.
Yeah. So for those of you who have forgotten, Colorado was previously in the Big 12.
Yes, they were.
They left to go to the then Pac-10.
Yep.
During this whole period of conference realignment, 10, 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They went to the Pac-12. They had some small success there in the Pac-12 conference. And now they are coming back to the Big 12 as Pac-12 TV deals are not going as well as the Pac-12 conference would have hoped.
No, it's not.
especially now that it's common knowledge that USC and UCLA will be leaving the Pac-12 also after this year, going to the Big Ten next season.
Boy,
so that puts the Pac-12 down to the Pac-9.
That's right. Boy, what a beating that conference has taken.
So, I mean, I feel like the Pac-12 is going to try to stay alive, but how do they manage to do that?
Who are you bringing in? All your attractive teams are gone.
Boise State, probably.
Maybe.
I mean, that's one that feels like it makes enough sense from a geography standpoint, you know. But what happens if the Big Ten just decides, hey, you know, Oregon, Washington, why don't y'all come over here and join us too?
Might as well. I'd reach out and get them.
Yeah,
because they're going to have to do something.
If the Big Ten gets Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA, then it basically leaves, let's say, Utah, Stanford, maybe the Arizona schools. If I don't think the Big 12 will need them, but I would say Utah and Stanford going to the Big 12 then, which is not as big of a headline as Big Ten getting the top 4 Pac-12 teams, or 4 of the top 5 Pac-12 teams. But if that happens, and then Pac-12 is done, they might as well just divvy up and everyone just try to look out for themselves and latch on wherever they can at that point.
Because there's not going to be any income coming out of that conference.
No,
nothing like it needs to be, and nothing like it has been.
And the Pac-12 commissioner was talking about the TV rights deal, and he said he wouldn't release the numbers, but he said everyone in the Pac-12 is going to be happy with it. And literally a couple days later, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Colorado's getting out.
Yeah,
they're going to the Big 12 specifically.
Well, I think next year's going to be crazy.
It's going to be insane.
It's going to be so wild
with the
landscape.
Last
year of modern normalcy, because next year is going to be just super chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about last week how college football divisions seem like they're going away in the conferences. I can only imagine that's just going to continue to happen as it feels weird to say the Pac-12 is going to be that first Power 5 conference to die away to lay the foundation for the era of the super conferences.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like it the most.
Because everyone thinks that ultimately it's going to come down to 2 conferences.
Yeah.
It'll be the SEC and the Big Ten. Of course, they'll both convert into different names out of that. But man, the Pac-12 is struggling mightily right now.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And if you had told me that around 2005, when Oregon was on the upswing, USC was absolutely dominating, UCLA was still getting some star attraction just because USC was doing so well there in LA, I wouldn't have believed you.
No. But boy.
Whatsoever. Boy. But this, I think that news of Colorado leaving the Pac-12, that's just the next domino to fall and what will ultimately be the Big 12's or the Pac-12's downfall.
It seems like once Texas and Oklahoma announced they were leaving to go to SEC, everybody went full panic mode as far as the guys in these conferences and these other schools going, uh-oh, we need to do some stuff. We need to start making some moves and doing some things, and look at what's happened.
I mean, Texas and Oklahoma was announced, 2 years ago?
Yes.
July 1st, 2021?
Yep.
So I think it was about July 1st last year that it was announced that USC and UCLA were going to be going to the Big Ten following this 2023-2024 season. And then after that, you saw the Big 12 like, oh crap, we're losing Texas and Oklahoma. Who can we get? So they grabbed BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston.
Yeah.
But that's not big enough star power.
No.
From a brand standpoint.
No.
And then the Pac-12 TV rights deal goes so far sideways so quickly and took so long that everyone realized, hey, there's some discontent over there in Pac-12 land.
We might need to think about moving elsewhere.
And then the whole idea of Colorado leaving the Pac-12 got floated, and Big 12 was like, we'll take you back.
Yep.
Come on home.
And it's smart by the Big 12 because when we first heard about Texas, Oklahoma, that was this the end of the Big 12. What are they going to have? And they really did a smart thing. Instead of trying to go out and grab all these top name schools to come in, they said, look, let's get schools. We'll get more schools, have a bigger conference, but schools that at least people know who they are, right?
Right.
The names, they know who the names are. They may not be the biggest schools in the world, but at least these schools have a decent sized following in their little markets. And we don't necessarily have to go after all big market schools. We can put a lot of these medium sized markets together and at least keep an income stream and revenue stream and a TV rights money stream coming in that we don't really have to lose. We're really not losing as much. Yeah, we don't have Oklahoma. We don't have Texas, but we still have enough named schools here.
But
not Mizzou Light. We don't have none of that kind of garbage going on, but we've got these schools at least. They may not be the big powerhouses.
Well, I think the most important part of the schools that the Big 12 did add is that it adds two cities into the Big 12 domain. It adds the city of Houston, Texas.
Yes, it does.
Which is massive and well rich in a lot of football talent.
Yes.
Could really encourage some of those kids to come and play in the Big 12.
That's right.
Now the top ones will go to Texas and Oklahoma, and they'll go to or A&M, and they'll go to the SEC.
That's right.
But UCF over there, they've been dominating the central, at least not just the central part of Florida, but the state of Florida by and large over the past 10 years.
That's right.
They've been one of the most successful teams in that state. Plus, they're right there in Orlando. And now that the kids that are like, well, I can stay home, play for UCF. I'm in the Big 12. Like, I'm in a Power 5 conference.
That's right.
It's not like I'm playing in the American anymore.
Nope.
So, why not? Now I got a bigger appeal. Now I can play BYU. Now I can go play Colorado.
Yep.
I can go to Boulder. Or, I go play West Virginia. We go play Baylor, Texas Tech, Kansas State. Especially like from a basketball standpoint, because Big 12 is such a basketball power.
They are.
That I think that move in both football and basketball really benefits a school like UCF.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I think it does. I think it's a smart move on Big 12's part, what they've done here. I mean, they could have panicked, fallen completely apart, seemingly like what the Pac-12 was happening over there with the Pac-12. But they've stayed the course. They've righted their ship, and they're staying afloat. And not just staying afloat, they'll make money. These TV rights deals with all these schools are going to make them money.
Absolutely.
And they will not tank, and they'll still have their conference, and it might benefit some of these other schools. And it's definitely going to benefit schools like Cincinnati and UCF as far as that goes. A lot of these schools will benefit. Houston, again, will benefit. And I think a lot of these schools are going to from it. But you know who's not struggling? The name Manning is not struggling.
No, not at all.
And we know that because Arch Manning just had his first trading card go for $103,000 at a charity auction.
Which is a record amount for a college freshman.
That's right. Insane.
And that comes off the heels of him signing his first NIL deal, which I do believe is in the 7 figures
That's right.
area. So great time to be Arch Manning down there in Texas. And it's weird because
he's going to sit on the bench in redshirt this year. No doubt. Probably so.
Well, here's the thing too. Texas got another top flight quarterback in that same class as Arch.
Yes,
so there's no guarantee that Arch will even be the starter next year.
No.
Unless he is what everybody thinks that he's going to be.
If he's who he is and what they think he's going to be, then he probably will be.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But still, you never know. Injuries happen.
But yeah, Arch Manning doing big numbers right now. Business is booming over there in Austin.
Yeah, Texas fans are quite thrilled at the moment. We'll see if that holds up. There was something else I want to talk about on the college football landscape.
Was it about Damon Williams Jr.? Playing for Arizona?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, so Damon Williams Jr., he had previously committed to Ole Miss and Coach Lane Kiffin. He decommitted and committed to Arizona this morning.
That's right.
So Williams is the 219th overall prospect in the 2024 class as far as the ESPN 300 goes. He's a product of Basha High School in Chandler, Arizona. He was in Tucson this past weekend to visit Coach Jed Fish and his staff. And Williams went on to say that he feels like the coaching staff's NFL background and the way that they run their offense will definitely play to my play style and will get me prepared for the next level. I feel like they've always had faith in me and trusted me since day one when they offered me as a 14-year-old freshman in high school.
Exactly.
So, a good get for Arizona, but unless Arizona turns their whole program around, I don't see why it matters.
Yeah, I don't see why it would either, honestly. And they're going to have to. Well, they're going to have to try. Man, this week, I can't wait for week 1. Week 0 into week 1. Let me say that.
Yeah, because
that is a lot of football in that, 8-day span right there?
From Saturday to Sunday?
To Monday. From Saturday to the following Monday.
So a 9-game stretch. Or a 9-day stretch.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of football there. The juices will get flowing. Everybody will get pumped up once again. So week 0 will be Saturday, August 26th.
That's right.
And then from Thursday, August 31st, all the way through that Monday that Chad was just talking about. What's that, September 4th?
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of football to be played. You go ahead and think about whatever your favorite team is, your favorite school. They're probably playing that weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, because what is it? What date is it? It's September 2nd. That's Texas and Rice. That's right.
And Ole Miss and Mercer.
Yes, Ole Miss and Mercer. Talked about them $4 tickets.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if you're in the Oxford, Mississippi area, you can get tickets as low as $4, apparently.
Yeah, don't tell me you can't afford to go to a game. You can go.
You can come on out. Everyone's going to leave by halftime when Ole Miss is up by 40 points.
That's right. But still, as far as opening football goes, enjoy yourself. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of those celebrations to be had throughout the season.
I'm trying to look for like a big-time matchup in week 1.
I don't know.
I don't see any.
Clemson, Duke, LSU, Florida State.
Okay, yeah, that'll be a big one.
That's on a Sunday night.
They had a great game last year.
Yes, they did.
North Carolina, South Carolina will be fun.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good one.
West Virginia, Penn State won't be good. Penn State's favored by 20.
That's right. A lot of these, there's going to be a lot that's not going to be good. But again, opening weekend, you're not really surprised.
No, they have their primetime games, and those will stand out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't. I guess it really doesn't matter, because when it comes to college football, week 1 is just about getting everybody back in the swing of things.
That's right, and that's what we're longing for.
Oh, we'll have the Miami Bowl week 1. Miami of Ohio is coming to Miami, Florida to play the Hurricanes.
Right. That's right.
Of course, the Hurricanes are 17.5-point favorites in that one.
Nah, well.
Which they should be.
Again, but football's coming, baby. 4 weeks away. We're getting ready for it.
Yeah.
Fun times.
We'll have fake football as early as Thursday.
Yes.
And then real football, 3 weeks
later.
after that.
Yeah. It's going to be great. I love football season. Dude, I'm going to tell you something right now, too. With this new smoker, we'll be having a lot of this stuff.
Well,
you'll be on work on Saturdays. That's the
I'll be at work.
Part about it.
Always.
That's the unfortunate part about it. But
the old shoot job getting in the way.
Exactly. Always in the way. Yeah. So
I need to get one of those boring jobs everyone talks about where they work a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Hail State, and watch out for Will Rogers this year.
Is that Cody?
It is Cody.
Cody, shut up. No, Will Rogers, seriously, as much as I don't like Mississippi State personally, Will Rogers is a dog.
He is. He certainly is.
And it'll be interesting to see how well State does. I mean, they could absolutely finish. Realistically, they could finish 3rd at best in the SEC West. I don't think they're going to outdo Bama. I don't think they're out going to do LSU.
No, they definitely won't. But I agree. I mean, they definitely could. Let me look at their schedule. So they start with what? Southeast Louisiana, Arizona, easily winnable games. Then LSU's the third game of the season.
Yeah. So
Then South Carolina, then Bama. That's 3 difficult games right in a row. If they can somehow get through this stretch, but they ain't 1-2.
yeah, with the one being South Carolina,
Yeah, then they got Western Michigan,
that's a win.
Arkansas. They can beat Arkansas.
They can beat Arkansas, yeah.
Auburn,
They should beat Auburn.
Kentucky,
They should beat Kentucky.
Texas A&M.
I don't know.
I don't know what Texas A&M is.
Because
who even knows?
A&M's one of the single most talented teams in the entire country,
That's
and
right.
last year they just crapped the bed all year long.
Exactly.
Kansas State beat them? Yes. It all comes down to what is Texas A&M this year.
Yeah, Southern Miss and Ole Miss to finish out the season. I mean, so
I think
they could.
State could sweep the state.
I think they could too. I really think they could too.
I think they could get the wins over Southern Miss and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at that, honestly. So yeah, there you go.
Being I'm kind of down on my alma mater this year.
Well, I mean,
They
it's
lost
just what it is.
so much talent. Now,
They
yes,
did lose a lot of talent.
they've got Quinshon Judkins still,
Yeah, who I love.
who's a dog.
He is.
It looks like Jackson Dart's still going to be the starter, which makes me sad because I don't like him. I would much rather it be Spencer Sanders.
Yep.
But these are the things that you
deal with.
you have to deal with as a college football fan.
That's why I'm glad we've got our other team that we could hope for has a better outcome this season.
Well, our other team
I'm
is
hoping.
projected to win their conference.
So we're hoping.
We'll see.
Right.
We'll see how that ultimately works
so
out.
I got that elephant out in my front yard.
Well,
I found a bevo.
oh, you
I
did.
did. I found a bevo. I'm wanting bevo. The only problem is that's like it's $270. It weighs 53 pounds.
Good grief!
That's right. But it looks cool.
Is it made out of an actual longhorn?
It might be. There might be a body inside that thing. Who knows?
So here's the thing about Cody. Since you've never met him.
No.
So Cody works for a company, a vendor that we do a lot of business with as
Gotcha.
far as like getting engineers,
Yeah.
A runner for the shows and stuff. And I want to say Cody's from Texas. I could have my facts. You can set me straight on that, Cody, if I'm wrong. Now he's a big Dallas Cowboy fan
Yeah.
because
Good
of
guy.
Dak Prescott.
It takes some bribing sometimes.
He's a big Texas Rangers fan.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to college football, he is the exact opposite of you and I.
Oh my God.
We're Texas Ole Miss. He's A&M and State.
Why? What's it with maroon?
I don't know.
I think it's just an agriculture school.
It's
He
a
likes to hunt.
gross.
You a hunter?
It's
I mean, I
a
am, but I
gross,
still
gross color.
It is awful.
I guess it's just the color of people who like to just spend too much time playing with cows. I don't get it.
I was born in Richardson, Cody. Actually, he was born in Dallas. So there you go. Still, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Well, it's 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. Well, 50-50. Okay.
But
nobody's perfect.
Yeah, no one's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. Good Lord, but I mean, at least he's. Oh yeah.
But
one of the teams is.
We rented a console from his company the other day, and so he showed up to deliver it, and he was wearing a Texas Rangers shirt and a Cowboys hat, and I was like, no,
That'll work.
Good man.
Yeah, those that combo will work.
Yeah.
Because Rangers just.
Well, they're struggling right now.
Well, right now, but that happens to every team during the season at some point.
But
they have been jacking it.
Well, I talked to you about how that pitching rotation was not deep.
Yeah.
And now they've got a
Now it
bunch of
shows.
injuries.
That's right.
But they did just trade for Max Scherzer.
Hey, there you go.
Which is huge. I don't know if it'll be enough ultimately. Not when Jacob DeGrom's out for the rest of the year. And
Yeah, that hurts.
They put Nathan Eovaldi on IL, so it's a rough situation, but
sports, baby.
Sports. The best opportunity they've had to win the World Series since 2011.
That's right.
For sure.
I missed the whole Antlers thing. Such a cool thing back in the day. So close, too.
It was.
Choke away.
Hey, I saw a fun fact the other day. Because somehow it has escaped my knowledge all these years that Goose Gossage ever played for the Texas Rangers.
Yes, he did.
Like, I think of Goose Gossage as a Yankee.
That's right.
So Goose Gossage's 308th career save also coincidentally came on Nolan Ryan's 308th career win,
which is wild.
as they both played for the
Which
Rangers.
is wild.
So that's your useless baseball trivia for the day.
Hey, it works.
You know,
Hey, look, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in today for another edition of Undefined Blitz. We'll be back here next Monday.
no, we won't.
We will not be here next Monday.
Yeah. So,
Where will you be at next Monday?
I'll be at the shoot job.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we got a lot going on and not enough staffing to handle it.
That's what happens. There you go.
So,
Hey, but we will be back maybe the week after.
should be, yes.
If not, we will be back before the beginning of the season. We got lots to do. We got I got guys wanting to do a fantasy league. Yeah, guys hit me up this season early about doing fantasy football. And McVicious being one of them.
Okay.
Wants to do some fantasy football. So I do. We got a paid league. $20 get you in. You know, winner take all. Well, winner second place, but
Right.
There you go. So there's that. But I love this part of the season. It's great. I struggle the rest of the year, but this is the time of year we shine, baby.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Hands down, the most wonderful time of the year.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see y'all soon. Have a good